Hello, everyone, and many thanks for joining this Sunday stream. News summary from Moscow program, a big community chat, of course, fundraising stream. Hopefully, hopefully, you will like the program, and in that case, please, click that like button, leave some commentary. As always, during this fundraising stream, Sunday fundraising stream, sir, task is to reach $200 for next week, so that I will be focused on work without much nervousness, if possible. We very rarely managing to achieve this task to reach $200, but in any case, many thanks to everybody who ever supported my work, of course. I have prepared news update for you, dear friends. I will go first with the news update, and then I will join community chat. And in case you cannot send your question through super chat on Rumble or through some other support platforms, I don't know, PayPal, Boosty, please use capital letters in your question if you have one that about I don't know any topic really that you want to us to discuss during this live stream, so that these capital letters will make it little easier to spot in the chat. And this is it really. All the links to support platforms are on this video in description box. So that's been said. Let's start the stream. And first news is about traditionally, I will say, is about work of Russian air defense systems on duty past night. RIA Novosti, based on Defense Ministry's update, reported that since 11 p.m. yesterday to 7 a.m. this morning, Russian air defense systems on duty intercepted 57 drones that were launched by Kyiv regime with assistance of NATO. 23 drones were intercepted over the territory of Samara region, 17 over the territory of Volgograd region, 5 over the territory of Saratov region, 5 also over the territory of Rostov region, 3 over Kursk, 3 over Voronezh, and 1 over territory of Bryansk region. Overall, 57 drones were destroyed, but unfortunately, as it happens time to time, not all drones were neutralized. And in Volgograd, for example, past night, according to reports that I see, at least 2 high-rise apartment buildings were struck with the drones, and you can see consequences of this attack right now on your screen. This is I can understand that quality of picture is not great, but you can see that there is apartment buildings there that were targeted. You're not gonna see this news or hear about this in the Western media, that's for sure. TASS news agency is also reporting that Russian armed forces liberated Malaya Takmachka and Mravnopolye in Zaporozhye regions. Let me show you on the map difference where these settlements are located. So this is Ravnopolye. I was reporting about Ravnopolye in previous days. Yesterday I shared information about Yablokovo being liberated, and I said straight away that most likely it's only a matter of hours, and Defense Ministry will give us an update about liberation of Ravnopolye, because there was reports about progress of the Russian armed forces in this direction. And this map is late, not the first time. Ravnopolye is actually liberated, although it was not marked as under Russian control by this particular map. But nevertheless, it is under Russian control. And if you take a look at the map, dear friends, clearly Russian troops getting closer and closer to Gulyai-Polye city itself. In next several days, most likely Russian troops will finalize liberation of Veselaya, Zatishye, Zelený Gay, and Vysoke settlements. And after that, probably we would not be mistaken to claim that battle for Gulyai-Polye has begun. Although theoretically speaking, battle for Gulyai-Polye already has started. All right, because this progress of the Russian armed forces in Zaporozhye is clearly a big move, and it seems like defense lines of Kyiv regime are just collapsing. They are not able to maintain their defense positions whatsoever. And as soon as Russian troops began offensive, Kiev regime's troops are withdrawing if they have such an opportunity. Therefore, I think maybe even for tomorrow, we will receive a report about liberation of Vysoka and Zelensky. Kiev regime's forces from the settlement probably run away today. Otherwise, they're going to get encircled. And then they will have much less chances, of course, right? And when it comes to Malaya Takmachka, this is Malaya Takmachka settlement, by the way, bigger breakthrough, big breakthrough, of course. This settlement located right next to Orechov. And if you remember, dear friends, I was saying in previous updates that Russian armed forces, after cutting main supply and support line of Gulay-Pole garrison by Russian troops with the liberation of Danilovka settlement and also Radosnaya, according to reports, Danilovka confirmed as liberated. Radosnaya was not yet confirmed by Defense Ministry, but nevertheless, this main supply and support line from the Dnipropetrovsk region towards Gulay-Pole is under physical Russian control now. And I was saying that Kiev regime's garrison in Gulay-Pole will no longer enjoy Western supply and support lines, or supply and support lines that are going towards Gulay-Pole from the western directions, because most likely simultaneously with the offensive on Gulay-Pole, Russian troops will activate operations in Orechov direction. And today we are receiving reports from TASS news agency, by the way. I mean, well, this is state finance media outlet, and they're not going to allow themselves to come up with a false information of this kind, right? They're not going to allow themselves to come up with any false information in principle, but especially when it comes to military developments, because Malaya Takmachka is a strategical place right now. And TASS news agency claims that well, this settlement is liberated, and the source for them is Defense Ministry of the Russia, right? So this settlement is liberated now, which means that my calculation seems like we're correct, and we're gonna see actually simultaneous offensive operation in Gulay-Pole and Orechov direction. Gulay-Pole is a stronghold of Kiev regime on the most eastern flank of Zaporozhye sector. Orechov is in the central part. And on the western part is Stepnogorsk settlement and Primorsk. In both settlements, Russian troops already established quite significant presence, right? And clearing operation is underway. So some very significant developments is happening in Zaporozhye sector. Also, when it comes to Dnipropetrovsk sector, I mentioned that Russian troops cut main supply and support line of Kiev regime for Gulay-Pole that goes through the Dnipropetrovsk region, and a little northern western side, or northern eastern side, sorry, from Danilovka, there is a settlement of Novopavlovka, and according to reports, and this map is acknowledging this progress, surprisingly, according to reports, Russian militaries managed to achieve a breakthrough in the direction of this settlement, and it's contested now. Some sources are reporting that 2/3 of the Novopavlovka is already under Russian control. And if so, then I would not be surprised at all if Russian militaries will finalize clearing operation, at least on the left bank of the Solenaya River that cuts this village, right? So most likely this left bank of this Solena River will be under full Russian control before end of today, tomorrow max, and who knows, maybe even right bank. Maybe tomorrow we will receive information that entire Novopavlovka was liberated by Russian forces. When it comes to Pokrovsk-Mirnograd, well, there is not much really to talk about at this point. Pokrovsk is under full Russian control, although this morning I was checking some Western so-called media outlets, by the way. And I was, even though I have no respect for Western so-called media, none whatsoever, Nevertheless, I was surprised that these Western journalists, so-called, are coming up with the headlines. How long will Pokrovsk hold? How long it will take for Kiev to regain control, full control over the Pokrovsk, and that kind of stuff, and these reports were for today, this morning, right? And I was really surprised to see that kind of crazy stuff because, for God's sake, Pokrovsk is under Russian control already, like how many days, right? Under full Russian control, not partial, not 30%, 40%, 50%, 100%, right? Pokrovsk is under 100% Russian control. There might be still somewhere like 2-3 person groups are trapped in some underground facilities, but okay, who cares, right? They will be neutralized soon. But control over the city, 100% is in Russian hands. And nevertheless, Western media today, by the way, on 16th of November, is coming up with articles asking questions how long Pokrovsk garrison will hold. They already they're already finished, man. There is no Pokrovsk garrison. What this Western media is talking about. I wonder how long it will take before Kiev will acknowledge that Pokrovsk is under Russian control, and then how long it will take before West will acknowledge that Russian troops actually liberated Pokrovsk. Anyways, this is an old story, isn't it? When Russian troops liberated Bakhmut, you remember, for several weeks, Kiev regime was refusing to acknowledge that they lost Bakhmut. This was every time Russian militaries are liberating more or less big town, Kiev regime and its NATO backers are acting the same. They are ignoring the facts from the ground for as long as they possibly can. And when no one believes them, even in the West, then they are beginning acknowledging that, well, yes, Russian troops did manage to establish control over this town or that town. Probably very same will be in regards to Pokrovsk, Mirnograd. So Pokrovsk is under full Russian control when it comes to Mirnograd. As I mentioned yesterday, by the way, some sources, some pro-Ukrainian and Kiev regime's propaganda means are saying that withdrawal began of encircled troops of Kiev regime from Mirnograd. Still to now, to this moment, I have not seen such a reporter in the Russian segment of internet that Kiev regime's encircled forces actually managed to escape the encirclement. Yes, some small groups might actually manage to escape, like 2, 3, 4 person groups. Not all of them, but some of them managed to escape. Maybe not all the members of the group, but from 4, 5, 1 or 2 might actually get to Kiev controlled territory and escape from encirclement. But I have not seen no reports about large units of Kiev regime leaving Mirnograd without any issues. So I don't really know what to make of these reports from pro-Ukrainian so-called media or Kiev-controlled outlets. Let's see. In either way, I guess it's only a matter of a week also, right? And the Russian militaries will finalize clearing operation in Mirnograd. And if we did not see thousands of surrendered troops of Kiev regime in Mirnograd, in that case, well, we will know that, actually, majority of these encircled troops did manage to escape, right? Either majority or significant portion of it, right? Majority might get killed in the process of battles for these towns, but a significant part probably escaped. But if we see hundreds and potentially thousands of surrendering troops of Kiev regime, then all these speculations on pro-Ukrainian resources is just that, speculations. And same goes for Kiev regime's Kiev-controlled so-called media outlets. Initiative obviously is in Russian hands, in Pokrovsk, Mirnograd, in all the directions, all along the front line, and literally nothing can happen that will change this. In Kupiansk, it's the same story. Russian troops continue clearing operation. Literally on daily basis, Russian media, based on Russian militaries, are reporting about yet another suicidal attempts being conducted by Kiev regime's forces to break into Kupiansk, and create a corridor for encircle the Kyiv regime's forces there to escape. But to nowadays, all these attempts to break into Kupiansk have been repelled, and the Kyiv regime's forces, the suicidal units, basically suffer tremendous casualties. And that's about it when it comes to a short summary. Of course, main news from the battlefield today is liberation of Malaya Takmachka. This is a big deal. This is definitely a big deal. And just look how big this settlement is, man. It's a big settlement. Russian troops managed to achieve breakthrough towards Malaya Takmachka like several weeks ago, and I was reporting about it. And today we are receiving information that whole of Malaya Takmachka being liberated. I am surprised, really. I was expecting that Russian troops will go active in Orekhovo area simultaneously with offensive on Gulay Pole, but I didn't expect this to happen this rapidly. I have to tell you. So yes, that's our main development right now, I will say. And as always, for more detailed information about developments, and a lot is happening different, of course, on line of contact. A lot is happening on every sector, and military channels provide us with great volume of detailed information. And if you want to learn some more on the battlefield there exactly, of course, I recommend military channels for that. Now let's continue with some other news. And I don't know if you have heard, dear friends, that a number of public figures, a number of media outlets are, sharing with public information about possibility, let's say this way, that Zelensky might flee Ukraine today. He is visiting Greece this Sunday, according to reports. I have this information for you from ERP, I guess, or ERT news, Greek media outlet, which said that Greek police have banned rallies in Athens ahead of Zelensky's visit. And maybe Zelensky already arrived, maybe he is there, and rumors are circulating on internet that Zelensky might not come back to Ukraine, not go back to Ukraine from Greece. I have some doubts about it. But big names even in, let's say, alternative media, by the way, have shared such information, such a position. And for example, Vzгляд newspaper did pay attention to statements of Scott Ritter, who said during the conversation with Judge Napolitano, just like day before yesterday, that was in past several days, and I believe I have watched this episode. Scott Ritter, U.S. military expert, said that Zelensky might not return from Greece to Ukraine. So he is also sharing this opinion that due to this corruption scandal on the Kyiv-controlled territory and due to devastating situation developments on the line of contact for Kyiv regime's military, he might actually flee country. And I don't know what is your take on the situation, dear friends, but I think it's not gonna happen. I don't think global is gonna allow Zelensky to run away now. Sometime in the future, maybe earliest, Zelensky may be allowed to run from Ukraine like spring 2026, but definitely not now. He's not going to be allowed to run now. And main reason why I think globalists will not allow Zelensky to go at this point is that they want Zelensky and his clique there, his henchmen, to begin mobilizing young generation people from 18 to 25. And all this corruption scandal is about forcing Zelensky and his criminal associates to begin mobilizing young people to begin acting on all orders, including on the matter of mobilizing young generation. And according to reports that we have seen, Zelensky and his associates were trying to avoid this step, not because they have any care about young people on Q-controlled territory, but because they were afraid that politically they will be finished with that step. So they will have no future in any case in Ukraine if they will go ahead and do this, right? And they might not feel safe anywhere else on this planet, because people gonna try to revenge, by the way, if they will go ahead and begin kidnapping kids of young kids from their parents. I mean, they're not gonna, Zelensky and his associates not gonna feel safe nowhere, neither in Israel, neither in any other country. Parents of those kids will get to them, right? So Zelensky was trying to avoid this step, mobilizing young, very young teenagers, basically. But globalists don't care about feelings of Zelensky and fears of Zelensky or his associates. They want this manpower issue to be dealt and immediately. And therefore, I expect this corruption scandal to die down in next week or two, and barely any media outlet in the West will comment anything on that or write anything on that topic. They will just forget. They will collectively forget about corruption in Ukraine, right? And Zelensky will initiate mobilization of younger generation people, and process has begun, by the way. I don't know why not that many people pay attention to statements of Mayor of Kiev, Klitschko. He already said that younger generation has to be mobilized. He was talking about like 22, 23-year-olds, not 18-year-olds, but that's just a testing of the ground, right? That's what it is. So therefore, unfortunately, for many, maybe for everybody, Zelensky will go back to Ukraine, and most likely will sacrifice another hundreds of thousands of residents of Q-controlled territory for geopolitical agenda of the Western, including young generation. But questions, yes, speculations are out there, questions being raised. Will Zelensky go back to Ukraine, or will he run away now, today? And my answer to these questions is no. Maybe he loves to go. Maybe he's dreaming about running to Israel and staying there. But it's not happening. They're not going to allow him. Not now. Earliest spring 2026, maybe globalists will not allow him to go even at that point. They will use Zelensky as much as they can and will allow him to go only after. And even then, by the way, chances that Western elites will kill him is like tremendously high, because Zelensky might start talk, right? And the globalists don't need that. So formally, they might actually allow him to go, but in reality, he might get, neutralized anyways. And they're gonna blame Russia for that if this happens. And so that's my take on all these speculations. And also, dear friends, reports are that tomorrow Zelensky has to be in France. And he will be in France. Tomorrow he will have a meeting with his boyfriend, Macron. And yeah, that's about it, right? Not really interesting, but I think topic of Zelensky running for Ukraine was blown up out of proportions on internet by many, and I think all these predictions are wrong. No, global is not going to allow him to run. Rihanna Rosti, meanwhile, is reporting that Merz, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, is losing power in Germany, according to Western media outlets. So, German government, led by Friedrich Merz, is facing growing public disconnect due to its inability to address the country's key problems, threatening the chancellor's continued tenor. Bloomberg reports his inability to address many key issues not only contributed to the rise of the more right-wing parties like Alternative for Germany, but also gave rise to speculations that Merz's government could suffer the same fate as his predecessor Olaf Scholz and collapse before the end of its term, publication said. And okay, maybe. I mean, German people clearly are not happy with the establishment, political establishment. Otherwise, AfD, that positions itself as an alternative to establishment, would not be that popular. And AfD is number one party right now by popularity. Although questions, I have questions. I don't know about you, but I do have questions about how true AfD actually is, or how independent AfD actually is in Germany. I have some questions about Marine Le Pen's party in France, for example, and I have some question about Farage's UK, Reform UK party. I'm not convinced that these alternatives are truly independent and have nothing to do with their globalists and their institutions that globalists are in control of, right? But this is me being maybe too skeptical. I don't know. Share your take, dear friends, what you think about it. But anyways, information itself that Merz's government is losing public support is actually true. And he might finish much worse than his predecessor, actually, because Germany, even though still number one economy in EU, on the European part of Eurasian continent, Germany is bigger than UK in terms of economy, but nevertheless, this economy is in a recession for how long now? I would say in depression, right? And the German economy don't even has theoretical chance to get out of this depression. And why is that? Because German economy has no resources. German economy is losing competitiveness because they are now mainly rely on extremely expensive energy resources that are coming from US or elsewhere, but then can no longer have access to Russian relatively cheap energy, right? And this is crucial. German companies losing competition, and already thousands of companies shut down their doors, and there are many more is queuing. So nothing gonna save German economy, man. So yes, Bloomberg is factual on the Scholz that he's not being popular, but nevertheless, I don't think Scholz cares really that much. I don't think German political class cares that much what German people think about them, right? Because they don't depend on German people. They have other masters. It's only illusion that these politicians are serving the people. No, man, they are serving globalists and all their financial and multinational corporations that globalists are in control of, right? Scholz himself is from BlackRock, right? Am I correct? So you think he actually cares about what German people have to say about anything? Of course he don't, man. He don't. He will do whatever he's been ordered to do, and when there is no more chances to keep him in power, globalists will take him out, throw him in some other place, right? And he will be replaced by some other figure, maybe even his group will be replaced by, or his party will be replaced by other party, and I'm afraid that other party can actually be AfD, and well, German people might experience a very same level of disappointment as America First people are experiencing right now with Trump, because their hopes being shattered. Their hopes just being shattered, man, in US, right? And same, very same trick could play out in Germany. I hope this is not going to happen. I hope AfD is actually true to German people, right? And to its statements and policies. I hope AfD is independent. I hope parties in alternative parties, popular parties in France and UK and other European countries are also true to the people. But hope is not enough, isn't it? Hope is not enough. We have learned that many times, and usually hard way. So we need evidences, and the evidences are not there, man. Really, yet, at least. So just to confirm that German political establishment don't cares what people think there. In Germany, they are allocating 3 more billion euros for a Kiev regime now, when a massive scandal is playing out, a massive corruption scandal is playing out, right, in Ukraine. They are adding 3 more billion euros to already allocated 8 something billion, and overall in 2026, Germany already allocated 11.5 billion euros for Zelensky and his criminal associates. That's Germany alone, and I'm quite sure real number is much higher. Real number is much higher because it's not just money itself. It's intelligence. It's of course training of the Kiev regime's forces, military equipment, and all sorts of other aid that is being given to Zelensky under his regime, right? So in reality, this number probably can be tripled or quadrupled, and still be less than actual number. But anyways, this information just demonstrates how much those people that are formally in charge there in Europe don't care about public opinion. But they do care about their masters, right? They definitely do. And you can ask, who is benefiting then? Let's say on the Germans example, who is benefiting from this much funds, taxpayers' money being allocated to some other country to prolong some war that formally Germany should have nothing to do? And I'm telling you who is benefiting. Direct beneficiary of this policy of Germany, for example, and their collective West in general, is military-industrial complex, one of their direct beneficiaries, right? And Rain Metals shares. I saw this on Twitter X this morning, by the way, and I had to share. The Real Fly shared the information that Ukraine has been extremely profitable for a German defense contractor, Rain Metal. The stock is up 800%, more than Nvidia. Since the beginning of this proxy war that West is waging against Russia. Now, what can I say, man? There are direct beneficiaries of these policies, right? And Merz and people like Merz care about these ones, not the people, but these multinational corporations, from a military-industrial complex, from financial sector, or whatever. That's who pays them. That's who their bosses are, right? RIA Novosti, meanwhile, is reporting that, Putin had a phone conversation with the Netanyahu, which is unfortunate, man. I did not like this stuff. I would personally, I would prefer if Moscow would cut diplomatic ties with Israel for crimes against humanity that Israeli government and Israel is engaged in. Right? Unfortunately, this is not happening. Seems like, and Putin, for whatever reason, still maintains quite active contact with Netanyahu. Too bad, man. What can I say about it? Too bad. But I'm just sharing with you information that phone call between Netanyahu and Putin had happened, and formally they discuss developments in Gaza, in Palestine in general, in the Middle East. They spoke about Iran's nuclear program. I don't know why Russian president had to talk about Iran's nuclear program with Netanyahu. What Russian president gonna say? Don't worry about it. Iran is a peaceful. Iran only has peaceful nuclear program. Israel knows about Iran more than we do, right? I mean, let's be real here. Israeli intelligence knows about Iran more than we ever known. So it's a total waste of time and puts a bad light on Russia, man. That's what I care about. This is bad optics for Russia. When Putin is talking to mass murderer and genocidal maniac, Netanyahu. It was a bad optics when Putin had a meeting with that another genocidal maniac and a terrorist, Ashara or whatever his freaking name is, this Western proxy basically, in Turkish Western Israeli proxy in Damascus now, right? And that's my attitude, by the way. I'm sharing with you information, share about what you think about it. But I think this is just too bad, man. We should distance ourselves from Israel as much as we can. Israel is not Russia's friend, never was, never will be, right? We should not. We should stay on the right side of history always. We should cut diplomatic ties with that fascist entity and stay away from it until this fascist entity will be demilitarized, denazified, and turned into a normal country. Then let's have diplomatic relationships. Let's be friends. But we cannot be friends with those fascists, man. We just cannot. And they are fascists now. Israelis are fascists. Vast majority of Israelis are fascists, man. And this is not an opinion, this is factual, right? Take a look at the studies that are coming out from Israel, what Israeli public, vast majority thinks about actions of the IDF. They are in 100% support, by the way, of genocide that was committed against Palestinians. So when I say Israelis are fascists, vast majority of them, that's factual. This is not an opinion. So yes, too bad, man. Too bad that Russian president spoke to Netanyahu. Yes, politicians, this comes with their territory. You are president. You quite often gonna talk to people that you might dislike. But I understand. But there have to be limits, man. There have to be limits. There are certain group of absolute despicable creatures that in no circumstances should be greeted by anybody. Not for political, not for diplomatic, not for any other freaking reasons, man. And Netanyahu is a freaking rabid animal and should be put to sleep, as rabid animals are, right? Should not be greeted by Russian president. That's it. That's my take on the situation. Too bad, man. This is shame on Russia that we still have diplomatic relationships with those fascists, man. My grandfather was fighting against fascists, not to see this nonsense right now, that Russian president is talking to some fucking fascist, man. Netanyahu. Too bad, man. Too bad. Let's continue now. And some independent sources, independent some analytical sources based on information from open sources are coming up now with reports about potential targets for US militaries when they will go ahead with their assault on this Caribbean Bolivarian Republic. And among potential targets of US militaries are indicated air bases, radar sites, naval hubs, C2 nudizer, I don't even know what that means. Many concentrated along the northern coast of the near Caracas, with the USS Gerald Ford aircraft carrier strike group now operating inside the Southcom. US forces have both reach and readiness for precision land strikes on naval interdiction at the short notice. Targets include, as I already said, potentially air bases at Maracao, Barquisimeto, and El Libertador, radar and ICR nodes near Caracas and La Guara, strategic ports at Puerto Cabello and La Guara. Pentagon planners would prioritize disabling air defense, radar coverage, and command hubs, patterns seen in prior US operations. And well, I'm not military expert. I don't really have strong opinion on the topic. What exactly, and with what priorities gonna be targeted by US? But yes, it is logical to think that naval assets, naval bases, air bases, radio electronic warfare systems, airfields, and air force will be targeted first. Command and control points of armed forces, Navy, Air Force also seems logical that could be targeted, and obviously political leadership, political and military leadership in general, right? Decapitation strike, so-called, and yes, US will probably do all of that, right? Yet again, I have shared many times my opinion on the matter. I'm quite sure if people of Venezuela are going to fight, US will lose this war. If people of Venezuela are not going to fight for their freedoms, then not for government, by the way, but for their country and their freedoms, in that case, US will have an easy run there, because purely militarily, obviously, two countries, two sides are in different leagues, right? Only way US can be defeated is if not just their current professional militaries of the Venezuela are engaged in a fight, but also people are mobilized and people are fighting. If people fight, then US will lose. And yet again, let me remind you, dear friends, that I think all this concentration of US militaries in the Caribbean, in my personal opinion, is not just because of the plans of Washington to attack Venezuela, but I'm quite sure Washington is planning to attack Cuba also. Everybody is talking about that behind this escalation with Venezuela is Marco Rubio, right? This neocon prostitute, or prostitute of neocons, right? And everyone knows that that prostitute is originally has some roots in Cuba, right? His parents or something ran away from Cuba. Maybe his parents or his relatives, whomever financed their trip, maybe they were henchmen of Batista, right? Maybe. I'm not biographer of that dirty whore, Rubio, obviously. I don't know, and I don't really interested. But in any case, what do you think? This criminal is behind attack on Venezuela, and because of his actions, entire flotilla of the US has been deployed there, and you think he's not gonna orchestrate attack on or push for attack on Cuba? Really? We all know that when Batista's henchmen run from Cuba after revolution, by the way. Most of them ran to US, right? And they ran with a lot of money. Cuba under the Batista was robbed, by the way, big time, right? It was controlled by this terrorist criminal regime, dictatorship of Batista and mafia, right? And mafia. Cuba was a massive money laundering operation, basically. And when these Batista henchmen ran, they went to Miami, or they went to Florida, including in Miami, by the way, with these tons of money. And they quickly learned that they can use money to buy for themselves pass into Republican Party. And they did. And they did, by the way. Right? And if you take a look at the matter, you will find out that every time there is a hostility towards Cuba from US, this hostility is originated from these so-called Cubans, by the way, traitors of the Cuban people. Either henchmen of Batista or descendants of Batista's henchmen, right? Human scum, basically. That's what they are. And therefore, I'm 100% convinced, by the way, it's not just about Venezuela. These psychos will use US military force to attack Cuba also, and to then, reclaim everything they think is theirs, right? And during the Batista, they were controlling everything, by the way. People were just slaves. If anybody in this world thinks that people of Cuba were so happy during the Batista, well, I have Mount Everest to sell you, man. They were enslaved, right? Let's continue. And by the way, Cuba would be a very, very happy country and successful country if not an illegal criminal embargo that US has imposed on this island nation. Cuba did not fail because of their government or anything, no, or because of the revolution. No, man. Cuba has a much better healthcare system and education system than the US ever will have. And many Americans, by the way, actually were going to Cuba to study. And not just study, but to have some operations done, by the way. Because they cannot afford it in US. So Cuba, no one can say that, well, look, Cuba failed because of revolution. No, Cuba did not fail because of revolution or revolutionaries. Cuba experiencing difficulties because of this dirty scum of humanity that is in charge of US and imposing illegal sanctions on millions and millions and millions of innocent people. True. Correct? Meanwhile, there is a awakening, awakening happening in US. Seems like, maybe this is also some sort of, I don't know, deception, because nowadays it is so difficult to believe anybody, to trust anybody or anything. Sometimes when you see some stuff, I mean, you might, because there is so much lies around going on, sometimes you might even struggle to believe in what you have seen with your own eyes, right? That's how fucked up this world is, actually. Sorry for my French, but you understand what am I talking about, isn't it? And so I have a skepticism in regards to everything nowadays, and everybody, right? But nevertheless, it seems like there is some awakening that is happening in US, because clearly this America First people, by the way, divorcing from these traitors that are in Republican establishment, that America First people were thinking were their allies. Now, seems like there is a clearly division now between this Republican establishment, from Trump to anyone else, by the way, you name it, Lindsey Graham, Ben Shapiro, from politicians. I mean, just let's start from Trump, man. pure freaking liar, chronicle liar, right? This disgrace of humanity, clearly, right? And just name goes and goes and goes, right? So on one side there is this establishment, political establishment of Republicans, also these media figures, so-called influencers, right? And there are a lot of them, like figures like Ben Shapiro and that kind of fake stuff. And on another side, by the way, there is a huge mass. It seems to me, I'm not in US, by the way. I'm judging based on what I have seen on internet, right? On the other side, there is a growing number of people, not just Republican supporters, traditional Republican supporters, but also people that are more like centrists, libertarians, right? People that are for America, people that want American government to serve America, by the way, and everybody should be like that. In idea, that's why governments exist. They have to serve the people, right? They have to prioritize the interests of their people always. This is not something that should be controversial only in US, I guess, or only in the Western world. That's how messed up the situation is there. But anyways, there is a civil war, man. There is a big civil war that is going on. On one side, there is a well-known public figures, yet again, this establishment, Republican, Zionist, neocon Zionist establishment, and their puppets, right? From Trump to Shapiro. And on the other side, there is this bigger group of people that not necessarily have a leader figure or leaders right now. Partially, maybe we can count as the leaders of this disenfranchised part of the US society, like Tucker Carlson, right? Dave Smith, Candace Owens, even Nick Puentes, by the way, among the younger people, of course, especially. And there are some others, right? And momentum is on side of America First people. Seems to me momentum is on America First people, and well, if they will manage to organize somehow, man, maybe they will manage to achieve something. I don't know. It's not going to be easy, man. But yes, there is a civil war. There is a civil war in among MAGA movement. Seems like America First is divorcing from MAGA now, right? Because they call MAGA fake. Because they are fake. But establishment, MAGA establishment is clearly fake, right? Fake people with fake agendas. So some very interesting stuff is happening, by the way, in the US. Definitely worth our attention. And yet again, man, good luck to them fighting system that is built to serve 1%. You know, this system is built to serve 1%. This system was never built to serve everybody, all American citizens, right? And to deal with such a system, man, you have to be brave as I don't know. You have to have steel balls and also extremely lucky, because only braveness not gonna help you. They're gonna kill you, man, and that's it, right? And they already begun killing people, man. And I think Charlie Kirk was killed by this neocon Zionist clique. Yes, that's how it is, man. That's how it is. Charlie Kirk was killed by neocons and Zionists. My personal opinion. They orchestrated that. CIA was involved, most likely, of course. FBI were orchestrate cover-up. They all are involved, man. This dirty fucking scum, man. Right? And, well, you don't have to go any further than Washington to see these elements of civil war, internal civil war, isn't it? And yesterday I already reported that Trump attacked Margaret Taylor Greene. I don't think Margaret Taylor Greene is necessarily being seen by America First people as their comrade, at least not before last couple of days, because Margaret Taylor Greene was quite loyal Trumpist, right? She never said nothing against Trump. I cannot remember anything that she said against Trump. But nevertheless, she went against Israel, by the way. She went against US funds going to Israel. She is demanding release of Epstein files. And well, this is the topics, by the way, that neocons and Zionists, their establishment, not gonna tolerate. And Trump received order to go after Margaret Taylor Greene, and Trump as a whore, Israeli slut, Trump as an Israeli whore, did exactly that. And he went hard against this woman, by the way. I mean, how disgraceful Trump is. He don't knows how to speak to people, man. He just don't knows. He was absolutely despicable against her Messi, right? And he was writing, and he's calling her Marjorie traitor in his tweets. You can see on your screen right now Trump's tweet on his True Social, and he's directly calling Marjorie a traitor and the disgrace to Republican Party. I mean, I don't know, man. Someone have to take out Trump from White House and put in some hospital for mentally ill people, because this is not the way how you talk to women. But Trump is a disgrace of humanity, right? So, and not surprisingly, well, Marjorie Taylor Greene is receiving death threats now from psychopaths that are totally brainwashed Trumpists, by the way. And already security companies are contacting Marjorie Taylor Greene and trying to help her to protect herself. Otherwise, she might get killed, man. 100%. I mean, I do believe that risk is real. So it is a civil war, right? It is a civil war. And I guess this media personality, I don't know much about policies of their Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't really care about internal politics of US, but she is naturally now will join America First side, and she most definitely has some supporters, right? And that wave of supporters will join this increasing group of disenfranchised Americans that no longer believe in a system whatsoever, neither in Republican establishment or Democrats. They don't believe in nobody, right? And yes, maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene will be some reinforcement for this. I don't even know. Can we say newly emerging movement or reborn the new movement of America First? I don't know, but yeah, she's been threatened, and she's been treated just too freaking poorly, man, by Trump, which is crazy. I mean, president to act in a way as Trump does, I don't know. It should be shame for all Americans, man, when that they have this kind of president. Biden was at least like a zombie, right? He was doing nothing. Trump is a zombie on steroids, right? He's doing just too much, and all this too much is negative. And Epstein survivors are begging Margaret Taylor Greene and vote to defend her from Trump. And you can see on your screen right now list of survivors from that Epstein criminal ring, and yes, they are supporting Taylor Greene because she's demanding files to be released, Epstein files that Trump is involved in a cover-up of, together with the FBI and the CIA and the Justice Department and everybody, man. You know, US is turning into some freaking bloody circus, man. I'm telling you. Entire country turned into a freaking circus under the Trump, man. I did not expect his second presidency to be this bad. You remember, I was never optimistic about his presidency. I was always saying that, you know what, we had an example like his first presidency, right? Did he manage to do anything really in a positive sense? No. So why should we expect that he will be any more good as a president of US for either for Americans or for the rest of the world? And I was correct, man. Only once, because of this overwhelming optimism among the public worldwide, I allow myself to become more hopeful, little more hopeful that, well, maybe, you know, let's give him a chance, let's give him time, you know, maybe my skepticism is just, you know, not allowing me to see whole picture. So I was hopeful. I was hoping that, well, you know, maybe with some time, Rats, we will see some positive developments. But no, man, no, I was wrong. I was wrong on my optimism. I was correct when I was pessimistic, right, or critical. And it is what it is, man. My first instinct was correct. Nothing positive to be expected under these freaking disgusting creatures that are formally at least running their show in the US, and they turn US into freaking circus, man. Our friends from America can share their opinion. I mean, are they happy to see what is going on in the country? I don't think they are happy, man. I really don't. And Trump simultaneously continues to lie to people, lie to public that due to his tariffs, every American, with the exception of rich and ultra rich, will receive $2,000. And this is lie. No one gonna receive no $2,000, man. They're gonna be no helicopter money. And I don't know, Besant already went on media and said that, well, Trump was talking about not necessarily like $2,000 cash being given to someone, but this $2,000 can be done in different ways, you know, tax breaks or this or that. So Besant did try to downgrade statements of Trump, but because Trump cannot help himself, he went to say again that all Americans or poor or middle class Americans gonna receive $2,000 each, which is lie, man, lie. Only way U.S. federal government can afford this is if they will borrow another, I don't know, man, $2 trillion to give it to people, right? And are they planning to do it? Because there is no $2 trillion from tariffs that Trump can just throw away like that, you know, just because he's losing grass support. And it is throwing away, by the way, don't get me wrong. Of course, everyone would love to receive $2,000, not just in US, but here in Russia too. I would love if the government would give me $2,000 today, man. It's like 150,000 rubles, 160,000 rubles, sir. Oh, that'd be nice, man, right? But can you imagine what would happen with freaking inflation, man, if everybody here in Russia, all 150 million of us, received 160,000 rubles or $2,000 right now? We will go and spend it, right? Most of us. And that will, you know, make our inflation go crazy. So that's why this is not the way economy should be run, man. So Trump is lying. Trump is lying to people. He just cannot bear the truth, man. He cannot say the truth to nobody. RT is reporting that US approves first arms sales to Taiwan under the Trump. So the Pentagon has announced that it has approved its first arms sales to Taiwan since US President Donald Trump took office in January. China, which views the self-governing island as a part of its territory, not just China, but the whole world sees Taiwan as a part of China, right? Very few countries in this world recognize Taiwan as either independent or legit government of China. So China has called the move an infringement on its sovereignty. The proposed deal will see Taipei spend 330 million to acquire spare parts for American-made aircraft that it operates. The U.S. Department of War said in a statement on Tuesday, their purchase should help Taiwan with maintaining their operational readiness on their fleet of F-16s and C-30 planes. F-16 is, of course, fighter jets. C-30 is a transport plane, one of which crashed in Georgia just recently, a Turkish one. American-made C-30 that was in Turkish Air Force. And so, yes, escalation towards China, isn't it, by US. Trump was saying that, well, if not him, US would be in a war with China. I mean, seriously? You are the one that escalates with China. So what are you talking about, Trump? And of course, Beijing will retaliate, by the way. Beijing will retaliate one way or another, but if anybody thinks China is going to just sit around and do nothing, no, man. They're going to retaliate. They're going to retaliate in very clever ways that US establishment will never even guess. Right? But Chinese going to retaliate. For sure. Vzgliad newspaper is reporting that, Euroclear, Belgium Euroclear, shared information, seems like, about approximately how much Russian money actually, or assets actually, were frozen by EU bureaucrats. So Euroclear CEO Valerie Urban said that Belgian depository holds 193 billion euro in frozen Russian assets, of which approximately 180 billion belongs to Russian Central Bank. So Euroclear holds 193 billion. How crazy is that, man? How anybody invested anything, man? Single penny into Western jurisdiction from Russia? I don't know. It's so stupid, man. It's so freaking stupid. But they did, man. Even central bank did, man. Which is holy shit. So yeah, 193 billion, by the way, billion euros, which is 200 and like 220 billion dollars if we exchange. From which 180 billion, about 200 billion dollars, or 180 billion euros, are Russian central bank assets, and they're gonna steal it. They're gonna steal it in December, officially. I'm quite sure globalists and their globalist control regimes in Europe will finalize pressure on the Belgium government of Belgium before end of this month. So in the beginning of December, when they will get together, when European so-called elites will get together to discuss topic of stealing frozen Russian assets, Belgian government will no longer oppose the idea. And therefore, before end of this year, in December, stealing of the Russian assets by Europeans will be formalized. That's it. It's gonna happen, man. Right? We all understand this, and this is it for now, dear friends. For this hopefully short Wow, it's not really that short, man. 1 hour and 10 minutes. I was hoping that I would manage to deal with the news segment in less than an hour, but okay, okay. Now, if you like the video, dear friends, if you find new segment interesting, please like the video, click that like button, and leave some commentary. Share with your friends. And now, let's start our community chat. And first of all, let me uh, highlight that one of the members of our community donated $12 through PayPal. Uh, I'm not gonna mention the name. So thank you very much, member of community, for your donation. So we have started the fundraising part of today's stream, $12 out of 200. Let's see, maybe today is a day when we actually reach this task of this Sunday fundraisings, 200. Let's see, and let me also check, dear friends, right now. Rumble, if there is any super chat there. No, no super chats there. So therefore, I will go through comments. I will go through chats, dear friends. And in case you want to donate, I just remind you that you can do it through PayPal or Boosty platforms. Links are under this video in the description box. Also, you can subscribe to my Patreon or Boosty pages. Links also are in the description box under this video. There is a crypto option, correct? And during the live streams, that is now, you can use that super chat or rant feature on Rumble or become a premium subscriber on Rumble. Everything counts, of course, dear friends. And many thanks to everybody who supported there and continues to support and keeps me in this field of news and political commentary. Thank you all. And let's go through. Let's have a chat now, dear friends, about any topic really. If you can send your question through support platforms, if not, just use capital letters, please. And I will scroll through chat. And when I notice either capital Q or capital letters, I will read it. Or most, it will be indicator that probably this comment is directed to me. So once again, hello, everyone, and many thanks for joining today's community chatter. Coco Bill is commenting, when you say Zelensky to escape Ukraine today, you mean that Zelensky, under pretense for visiting EU countries, plans to abandon Ukraine and go hide some. Oh, I think I answered this question. There are all sorts of speculations on the internet that he might don't return to Ukraine. I have a different opinion on that, but even Scott Ritter, by the way, big name in alternative media field, thinks that there is a probability that Zelensky might actually run away. And Russian media pay attention to his statements. I believe I watched that video, and Scott Ritter was not saying, if I remember correctly, it was like a couple of days ago, he was not saying that he is absolutely confident that Zelensky is going to run away. He was saying that speculations already begun that due to certain developments, he might run away. So people talking about this stuff, media is publishing informations about this stuff, and therefore I had to react on it one way or another, isn't it? And I did it. So I think he would not be able to run away from Ukraine now. Global is not gonna allow, but after he will do whatever he is told, including beginning forced mobilization of a young generation, then he might receive formal authorization to flee Ukraine, but he might never actually be able to do it physically because they will kill him, and they will blame that on Russia. Most likely. I mean, Zelensky is a dead man walking, like 90% probably chances that globalists will kill him. Western elites will not allow him to escape. Man. Why would they? I mean, they can take him out. They will take everything that Zelensky has stolen. They will take him out and they will blame it on Russia. You know, one of the explanations of this corruption scandal in Kyiv regime, you know what was used as a explanation or kind of justification? But well, it's Russia's fault. Seriously, man, they are blaming Russia for Ukrainian corruption. I mean, what the hell, man? What the hell? They are blaming Russia for that also. But because of Russia, well, Zelensky and his criminal associates were stealing hundreds of millions, right? Okay, by the way. But I'm not even going to try to comment on that nonsense seriously, right? It will work in the West, probably. I guess some people in the West will say, yes, I mean, it's Russia's fault. Anyways, right? If you ask her, please explain, they might struggle with that, but otherwise they will say it's all Russia, man. It's Russia's fault. Zelensky stole 100 million. It's Russia's fault. Zelensky stole billion or 10 billion. It's Russia's fault. It's too cold outside, and you think whose fault is that? Russia's fault, of course. Not Jetro Tool is commenting Azov coup. Not yet. It will come to that. Azov will overthrow Zelensky, but I mean there is a high probability that once Zelensky will do all the dirty job that globalists want from them, at that point probably he will be removed from office forcefully, and or at least there will be coup d'etat attempt, and who gonna be used by the Western elites? Of course, Azov, because Azov is operating under this is neo-Nazi formation, by the way, terrorist organization. These Azov formations are operating under the umbrella of CIA and MI6, right? They've been trained even before 2014 coup d'etat. Those neo-Nazis, right? There were training camps in Poland, by the way, in the western parts of Ukraine, in Poland, and in the Baltic states, where there's neo-Nazis that then formed these neo-Nazi formations, battalions on Kyiv-controlled territory were trained. Right sector, Azov, Kraken, and all the others, right? So it will come to it. Azov, these neo-Nazi formations are definitely weapon in the hands of Western secret services, and they have openly threatened Zelensky on numerous occasions, according to reports. That if Zelensky will not do whatever Nazis want from him, then they will take action. Barry Yetman is commenting, let's face it, large military vehicles are now liability. Well, drone warfare did make most of these heavily armored vehicles not that not that effective, for sure. There is no hide from FPV drone, isn't it? Especially from wire guided one. Yes, I have said already in my previous updates that main battle tanks are finished. It's a past. Main battle tanks are done, by the way. Infantry fighting vehicles also are finished. I think in the future, probably more focus will be on transport vehicles, armored transport vehicles. right? Like Max Pro, for example, although with a different design that will be more capable to withstand, let's say, whatever charges those FPV drones can take with them. But heavy vehicles, they are finished for sure. Not all large vehicles, because you have to one way or another, but you have to carry troops, you have to carry munition, supplies. You need large vehicles, right? But heavily armored vehicles are finished, I think, because oh, I can do this stuff, by the way. Heavily armored vehicles are finished, for sure, I think. Let me continue. Yes, I mean he will go back. Many members of community are commenting that probably Zelensky will go back to Ukraine. I think so too, because global is not going to let him go, man. No, no way. He would love to go, I guess. Oh, that's an interesting question. Are you Bolshevik? Tony Giacalone is asking, "Are you Bolshevik?" No, man. I'm not Bolshevik. I'm not communist. Never was. Right. Bolsheviks. If you want to see Bolsheviks, by the way, look no any further than unelected bureaucrats in EU. That's the Bolsheviks, man. Here in Russia, we don't really have Bolsheviks in traditional sense, right? At this point, there is a communist party, by the way, in the parliament. They called like that, Communist Party. They are descendants of Soviet Communist Party. But I don't think they are, you know, Bolsheviks in traditional sense, really. They are reformed ones. But yeah, I'm not a Bolshevik. If I was born in those times, those tragic times for Russian world when there was a civil war between Bolsheviks and troops that were loyal to emperor, those were called White Army, by the way. I can imagine that there is much more chances that I would end up in a White Army than among Bolsheviks, man. I just cannot see myself among Bolsheviks. It is what it is. I don't like Bolsheviks, to be quite frank, man. You know, not Jetro True is commenting. Will U.S. invade Venezuela? 100%, 100%. U.S. will attack Venezuela, no doubts about that. But yet again, as I said in the program, I think it's not just about Venezuela. Most likely, Washington has in plans to use this buildup of forces in the Caribbean to attack Cuba. They are after Cuba. They are going after Cuba, by the way. Venezuela also, but their main goal is most likely Cuba. We will see. I mean, it will not take long before everything will be revealed. Coco Bill is commenting. So Prigozhin, who killed him? Any news on that? Well, only speculations. There are different speculations, by the way, different speculations, but you know, and I don't really have a strong opinion, to be honest. He made a fatal mistake, man. He made fatal mistake when he began moving Wagnerites towards Moscow, man. He put the Russian president in a very bad situation. Maybe no one liked Shoigu, that was defense minister at the time. And reports are, by the way, that Wagnerites went to Rostov to capture Shoigu, but Shoigu escaped, right? Shoigu lived, allegedly, Shoigu left Rostov literally hour or two before Wagnerites entered, right? The city. And when Shoigu left, if this is true, and when Prigozhin realized that, well, Shoigu is not there, and he had a beef with Shoigu, right? He never had no beef with Russian president. So when he realized that, well, Shoigu is not there, he should say to his units, just go back to line of contact. We have war there to win, right? And he himself should surrender to police right there and then. But he did that, he made these different choices. He went towards Moscow. In the process, number of helicopters were shut down, even the plane, by the way. Prigozhin put Russian president in a horrible situation, man. Even though he did not have a beef with Putin, nevertheless, he was going on Moscow, right? He was attacking state institution, and as a president, Putin had to do something about it, And he did. Eventually, situation was resolved, and then this incident occurred with the plane. And I don't know, do they really were playing with their hand grenades in the plane, or something else had happened? But well, we can only speculate. We're never gonna know what happened exactly with that plane. Some people don't even believe, by the way, that Prigozhin was on the plane. There are people who actually don't believe that Prigozhin was on the plane. So there is all sorts of speculations. So if you are interested to know with 100% certainty who is behind that situation with the plane, I don't think there is even a slight chance that answer is gonna be available anytime soon, or ever. Dodge. Oh, dear friends, I will leave for a second to take my phone to check Boosty. Just please. Может там где-то? Okay, my apologies, dear friends. it's a Sunday stream, isn't it? So I just could not find my phone, and which one is mine? Где мой телефон, дочь? Вот. Спасибо. So just to make sure that I'm not gonna miss no question through or donation through Boosted, dear friends. So I will check every 5 minutes there. And also, so let's continue. I'm scrolling, dear friends. Don't I know sometimes it might feel like it's an issue with the internet. No, I'm just scrolling. If I see a question directed to me, I will react on it. If not, then did you notice, dear friends, when I end the news segment, there was a 400 people on YouTube watching the live stream, which is great. Right now, StreamYard shows me that there is a 314 people online on YouTube, and 42 people are online on Rumble, 44 on Rumble. I'm scrolling now. If I see question, I will react on it. If not, then this might be shortest community chat. Let's see. Interesting comment. Pegas Slaner is. My apologies if I'm not pronouncing correctly your nicknames, dear friends. And comment is what I love in your channel, and Alex from Nicosia, Alex Christoforou, by the way, host of Duran Show. Great channel, of course. I don't think there is anyone in our community who don't know about Duran or Alex Christoforou or Alexander Mirkouris. I definitely recommend to follow their work, their brilliant work. So comment is what I love in your channel, and Alex from Nicosia, Alexander Christoforou's channel, is that you perfectly know NATO speech, NATO and the Western media scam speech. you know what they really want to say when they write something. Thank you for your kind words, sir. Yes, I guess, you know, we just because we are in this field, at some point you automatically understand what certain statements actually mean, right? What is behind their certain developments. There is what connections there is between different developments that seems to be unconnected, but in reality it's otherwise. You know, thank you very much for your positive attitude. Nidish Kumar is asking, Levan, do you think they reignite Biafra conflict in Nigeria, which ended in 80s? Well, recently, Nidish, I saw reports that allegedly, Washington, no, someone or some individuals, even certain groups from Washington contacted Nigerian government and allegedly recommended them to just ignore Trump for a little while and his threats until Trump will start focusing on some other thing. And it might sound crazy that Washington is operating this way, but if you take a look at the U.S. right now, I mean, the U.S. is being turned into a freaking circus, right? So nothing it seems to be that crazy no more, right? So maybe it was just really a rant on part of Trump. He went to say some shit, and then his administration was trying to explain to the rest of the world what Trump was talking about. And maybe there are gonna be no strikes of U.S. or Nigeria on these so-called Islamist groups, because those terrorist groups that are operating in Africa, for example, all of them are linked to Al Qaeda, and all of them are linked directly or indirectly with CIA. So they're gonna bomb their own operatives, really. All these terrorist organizations are linked to CIA and MI6. We all know this. And when it comes to strategy, as I understand, US has a strategy, right? Western elites have a strategy to destabilize areas where they are unable to compete with China or Russia, mainly with China, but and that's what they do, and they are destabilizing Nigeria for quite a while now, not the first or second year, over a decade. West is actively trying to destabilize Nigeria, including through these terrorist organizations that are affiliated with their CIA and MI6, right? Will they go ahead to further destabilize this country? I don't think so, because why would they? They don't really have such a need. Their tactic is, what they do is they are creating more and more issues for China, right? This little by little destabilizations are making life for China, Chinese investments, Chinese programs ever more difficult, and that's enough. That's good enough for the U.S. Because if they will go ahead and completely smash everything and everybody, right? In that case, well, you think what's going to happen if they will actually destabilize Nigeria, one of the most populated countries in Africa, and where millions and millions of people gonna go? If you completely destabilize Nigeria, that will influence, of course, neighboring countries, and in that case, we are talking about migration of tens of millions of people, forceful migration of tens of millions of people, and I don't think Europeans want new waves, actually, to receive new waves from Africa or from anywhere else. So they're not gonna go ahead there destabilizing big time. Nigeria or any other country really, but they will do whatever they can to keep these countries unstable, so that China would struggle to do business there too. That's their goal, main goal of the Western elites, to make life difficult for China, because West cannot compete with them. West cannot uh, compete with China either with their investments or with the loans or with their infrastructure building or anything. West is just lost this game long time ago. And best they can do now, and that's exactly what they are doing, is to destabilize every country as much as they can. Not as much as they can, but enough, destabilize enough to make life difficult for China. And they are succeeding in this quite effectively. And not just in Africa, by the way, but they are attacking now Latin America, and they are very active in Global South too, isn't it? They are very active in the Global South too. Very active. Dear friends, Anya is not here, my wife, to assist me with to help me with the screenshots. If there is any donation through PayPal, for example, and if she is busy right now, she might not be able to send me a screenshot when I am online. But if they're gonna be donations that I would not be able to mention during the stream, I will highlight this in next update. I have reached to Pusti, and I can check. This super chat too, or chat on Rumble. But seems like yes, today they're gonna be no more super chat or donations or anything. So I will just scroll, by the way, and end live stream on that. Today is one of those days, I guess. When at least one of the members of our community donated $12. So okay, many thanks, sir. I have to stop. Probably I have to stop doing this fundraising streams, because it's little embarrassing when you call something a fundraising and you raise only $12. Anyways, okay, dear friends, I'm gonna end this live stream on that. It's almost 2 hours. It seems like today's live stream is failure, hopefully. And I'm a human too. When I see that live stream is not working, it influences me also, isn't it? I'm not gonna play here. So therefore, it is time to end the live stream. Have a wonderful day, and many thanks for attention. Take care, and see you tomorrow, probably. Bye.